Coffee and News is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. Okay, welcome to an episode of Coffee and News. It's good to be back. I was not sure if we were going to come back on air, but right around the 4th of July, things start to clean up. It's rough getting the summer started, especially with all the setbacks with COVID, and we know now going back to work is a very difficult thing, especially when there's limitations put on us. So I hope this radio show offers you some insight into some topics that I'm going to bring up, and a topic that I think a lot of us want to refer to is the charlatans. There's so much of it. It's almost unheard of. Like, I got emails about donating money to a rent program, and guys, the charlatans is what's chased a lot of people out of the churches, and the churches have changed so much in such a short amount of time. Like, I don't know how they keep churches together with all the attacks that are coming from every angle. And there's a lot of charlatans. And that was the topic I wanted to talk about. Also, fools. Don't be foolish. There are a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of tricks. And a lot of us need money. We all need to make a living. And when you see the unemployment rate, and I look at these stimulus updates, one I particularly like is Stephen Gardner's. I feel like he's the most honest. No one's trying to get something out of you, more or less. So what do I stand to gain from having a talk show? Well, I want to make a living. The objective of the Coffee News that radio is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. Amateur radio means we could do all types of radio, all different variety of topics. I can even do I could do a variety of things because I'm open to listening to other ideas. The Court of Public Opinion is a separate show. All of the shows are separate. And I created and wrote each of the shows for the purpose that somebody might fill that slot. I don't know. I mean, something could happen to me and somebody would fill in. I don't know. If I am on vacation, somebody could fill that slot. I'm looking for people who are self-motivated. Let me talk about the charlatans for a moment, though, because that seems to be the one thing that turns people off about Trump. Trump is not a charlatan, okay? Although, whenever you see people asking for money and asking for donations, people get upset because they know times are tough, and GoFundMe is a great way to get help, but I got that email from GoFundMe. Like, the reason why we're having the problems today comes down to the charlatans. And a lot of people would be able to get more help if the churches were able to do what the church was called to do, and that was to help the people in your community. But now you have to go to GoFundMe. You have to go to other alternative sites to get help. And a lot of people used to turn to the church. And the church age that we were talking about in these other broadcasts is what's changing. There's going to be no church to turn to. So you're going to have to turn to GoFundMe. You're going to have to turn to other resources, Patreon, and other ways to get funds and donations. And no one tells you this, but the world has changed in the last 15 years. It used to be that you didn't need these things, or the stimulus check and things like that. You could get a job. But the internet and technology has changed so much, and so have one of the aspects of making a living, e-commerce. This is the only e-commerce business I know. Okay, I'm not schooled in any other area. I have to go back to school, in fact, to earn a way, a life, to earn an income. You think about what you watch on TV, you watch on news, but I'm going to tell you, the reason why the charlatans have chased a lot of people away is because they always ask for money, or some kind of gimmick or some kind of trick. And that's why people are so turned off, okay? So, we want to tell you the one thing that is true. I don't need to tell you guys that you could turn to the Word of God to get your source of information. You know, that's the good thing. It says in the Bible, in Proverbs 27, I think, 27:17, iron sharpens iron, so shall you sharpen one another. And that's true. You should sharpen your tools. Like, you want to be able to think straight, be correct in what you're saying, know what you're saying, and say it and get your point across quickly. With all the other studies and all the things we've done on this channel, just this channel alone, we've tried to illustrate how important these issues are. And you can look down the list of things that we've done. Racial violence, human trafficking. Those topics are topics that are very real to people that live in my neighborhood. Drugs is one of the worst things in this neighborhood, especially because of the overdose. We don't want to live around it, but it's a part of our community. So whenever somebody comes in with a promise that something's going to be better or times will get better, of course people are going to listen. And that's why I know we live in the end of age. You can no longer turn to the church. The church age is almost over. And what will the Antichrist promise? He will promise to offer all these things like peace, all these things that people are looking for and searching for. And deep down, we all need Jesus. Deep down, we all need to know that Jesus came to save us from our sin and save us from this way of life, this world that we know. Because I was just praying before I got here, and I know that one of the topics that came up is about the charlatans. That's what I was praying about today, about how many people get fooled into things, and they think that they met somebody nice, and he said he was a Christian, and then he ended up beating her up. You know, I live this way. I know what people go through to find good, wholesome, authentic, edifying words of encouragement. The truth be known is that we're all fallen, and we've all fallen short. So there's no such thing as a perfect Christian. So please be aware of that. The thing is that when people keep doing things that they're not supposed to do, that's when you should keep yourself alert. That's why Jesus said in the last days to be not deceived, because I think that deception is what's going on in the church, okay? Whoever's doing the deceiving, it's going on in the church. It's not going on out there in the Black Lives Matter movement. You know right off the bat what you're dealing with. They're not professing Christians. We're talking about what's happening within the church with professing Christians. So when we talk about the topic charlatans, and it says be not deceived, live in the times that we live in, I think that's what it comes down to. Do not live among fools, more or less. Be careful who you call your friends. Be careful if you suspect somebody is conniving or doing something, pray about it first before you go down that road. There's a lot of people who are quick to judge or quick to say something. I would just be very patient and prayerful before I say anything, okay? We are just generally talking about this topic about charlatans. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably have had your experience and probably know a little bit more about charlatans. There are many of them. The important thing is to have a group, a Bible study, who edify each other in the Word of God. It says, do not forsake the assembling of one another. That's what it says in the Bible. We must assemble. We must be able to go to church again. We must be able to do the things we do to make America great again. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. It doesn't hurt to have some coffee in the meantime. All right. Thank you for listening to this important broadcast. Like I said, we're a part of the Amateur Radio Network. This is a singled out radio shows. Each show is written with a different objective. Every show has a different topic and might cover something that is different from the other radio shows. Amateur Radio Network is for students and professionals who want to improve and learn better about technology and podcasting. So it's more of an education tool right now till we go back to school. So we hope with your support that you continue to encourage people to go back to school, go back to work, go back and live your life. Don't worry about what other people are doing. God will take care of what needs to be taken care of, you know. That's one thing I've learned is leave it in God's hands. Because if you don't know what to do, the best thing to do is pray. Thank you for listening to Coffee News and Radio. Coffee News and Radio is a part of the Amateur Radio Network.